This is me, Dick Strawbridge, my wife Angel, and our 2 children in our glorious French chateau.
We haven't ever regretted what we've done. It is so worth it.
We moved here 3 years ago to follow our dream of living life in our very own castle.
Oh my God!
But it's not been easy,
I think I'm a bit too old for this.
as dozens of other Brits know only too well.
Oops. Floor needs replacing as well.
Because it turns out we're not the only expats who have bought a French chateau.
Wow, absolutely love it.
25-year-old Bordeaux.
Motherload!
In this series, we'll reveal how we're running our chateau as a business.
There's not a thing about making sausages that I don't find humorous.
I'm still finding things that I haven't seen.
And see how these daring Brits are running theirs.
Oh, whoa. This place is done up.
As they face the ups
It's really beautiful.
This is a rare moment, but I am genuinely at peace.
and downs
It's a lot worse than it looks.
of their new lives in these crumbling and magnificent buildings.
It is a bit of a fantasy, living in a French chateau.
We might have a few problems on the way, but that's part of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Today, Angel gets crafty.
What are you doing in my kitchen anyway?
Is it okay, baby, if I just use your kitchen for a minute to make some candles?
And wedding cakes.
Oh, what's gone here?
Ta-da!
One couple risk their future in France and how a big event goes at their chateau, but
The lift has jammed itself on the ground floor.
there's one problem
They don't think they've got any more parts like it because it's so old.
after another.
I found the pipe that's leaking. It's got a split in it. It looks like it is the mains pipe.
And one chateau struggles to be ready in time for its first ever paying guests.
This is full of sand. That is very threatening.
The beautiful Chateau de Gelaine sits in the Loire Valley and is the home and business of couple Michael and Jonathan.
We love the French lifestyle, we love the French language, love the French people. Owning the chateau is a brilliant experience.
They run it as a location for holidays and weddings, but now they're about to make a decision on whether or not they should continue. Today, they're prepping for a wedding.
We've got everything at stake. There's no more money.
I don't think you can put any more into it now. I couldn't put any more hours into this. I couldn't put any more money into it. We haven't got any more money and I haven't got any more time in the day. So there's nothing more we can put into it.
45 guests are due tomorrow, and they'll be staying for a week. It's going to make them £30,000 if it all goes well.
I need the Saal card, please, to get some iron bar. And have you got any cash as well, please?
Stress levels are high, and the news that the bride wants the wedding to be held in the chateau's forest brings up new problems.
The wedding's in the forest. Bride John's in East Tower. It's changed. So it's out there now.
Well, so what are they doing with chairs now? Are they going to carry the chairs up there, or are they going to stand for the ceremony?
I didn't ask the detail.
And if that wasn't enough to deal with, there's a problem with the chateau's lift.
The lift has jammed itself on the ground floor. Fortunately, nobody inside it. Doors jammed open, and we're about a foot, 30 centimetres or so off the level of the floor, so we can't use it. I've put in a call to the engineer. My worry is the bride is going to have to come down from the very top floor in her wedding dress and her wedding shoes down an emergency staircase. Just don't need things like this to go wrong.
It'll take the engineer 2 hours to drive to the chateau. It gives Jonathan time to deal with another ongoing problem. The shrine in the chateau's grounds is still missing a Jesus figurine from its cross. And now the bride wants her wedding outside, it needs to be replaced. Luckily, an antique shop owner has just been in touch about a miniature Jesus that's just come in.
So, fingers crossed. Jesus, here we come. Bonjour. Bonjour, madame. Je m'appelle Jonathan de Chateau de Gelaine. C'est vous qui m'appelez avec l'information de Jésus?
Oui, tout à fait, oui, oui. Je vous ai appelé hier.
Et est-ce que vous avez ici?
Oui, juste là. Je vous le montre?
Oui, s'il vous plaît, merci.
Donc le voilà.
Oui.
Je vous laisse regarder.
Je dois réfléchir un moment,
Je vous laisse
s'il vous plaît.
regarder.
Merci
je suis là,
bien.
si vous avez besoin.
I don't want it pristine, as the cross itself isn't pristine, but look at my goodness gracious, I couldn't have wished for better.
The price is okay, but the only question for Jonathan is the size.
I've forgotten the bloomin' tape measure after all that, but I know that the distance between the nails on the cross is the span of my hand. Look, you couldn't get better matched than that. So, fingers crossed, but it's in good nick, so I'm very excited. Oh, my goodness. Day's turning out good. Now all I need is the lift to be fixed. 1, 2, 3.
C'est parfait.
Merci bien.
Beaucoup.
À la prochaine.
À bientôt.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Back at the chateau, and with the lift engineer due to arrive at any moment, Jonathan delegates the Jesus repair to one of the volunteer workers, Alan.
Moment of truth, Alan.
You did get something then.
I did.
Right, well, let's offer it up and see what we've got.
Actually, this is too big.
No, leave this with me and I'll get him attached to the cross in a suitable manner.
This works for me. Cheerio then. See you in a minute.
All right.
The lift engineer arrives on time, but there's just half a day remaining to fix the fault in time for the wedding. Angela and I know all too well the challenges and costs involved in putting on weddings at a chateau. One service we offer the bride and groom is to provide icing-free wedding cakes.
A naked wedding cake. It's the fashion in the UK. We're kind of celebrating Victoria sponges. So last night, I baked these cakes. And if you bought a cake like this, you're talking 300-400 quid.
The ingredients for Angela's wedding cake probably costs around £50.
I'm starting off with my first layer, and then I'm going to put buttercream, jam, second layer. I'm using this little spatula because I can't find any of the spatulas. Remember, I'm in Dick's kitchen.
My kitchen, remember that.
So he's probably filed them somewhere else, which is fine. I just don't know about it. OK, so second layer, strawberry jam.
Now for the tricky part.
I always dread this bit. OK. Da-da-da. OK, here we go. Right, lovely.
Time for a little structural engineering.
Now, what's going to happen is, as I put the next layer on, it's going to be really, really heavy. You can use jumbo straws or dowels to take the pressure. I mean, it's everybody's worst sort of nightmare, isn't it, that the wedding cake starts falling down. Right, I'm going to need a little board, because I can't just have the dowels. OK, so my final tier. This is where we decorate it with flowers and berries and all nice things to make it really, really, really appetising. Just using little toothpicks to just keep the berries in position. I'm just slowly building this up. Just a real celebration of nature. You know, it's berries from the garden, it's flowers from the garden. It's all about engineering. I'm going to finish this off with a little bit of caster sugar. Ta-da! I'd be happy with that at my wedding.
It doesn't take long for the smell of Angela's baking to reach me and the kids.
Oh, what's got here?
Ta-da!
Looks yummy. It looks like a baking cake.
Little Arthur and Dorothy love Mum's cake. I think we'll let them have some of this, and we'll just have to make another.
Arthur, do you think you could eat all of this? There you go, baby. My son's happy.
Is this the best cake?
Wow.
I love you. Thank you, darling.
It's the best cake.
And it's the best finger chipper.
At Chateau de Gelaine in the Loire Valley, 45 guests for the big wedding arrive from America in the morning. The engineer has just a few hours left to fix the lift.
The lift has jammed itself, so we can't use it. Let's hope it's not too bad.
After about an hour, Jonathan is anxious for a progress report.
Bonne nouvelle, hein?
Bonne nouvelle. Il a dit bonne nouvelle.
Pas une bonne nouvelle.
Oh, pas une bonne nouvelle. Oh, my God.
Ressort les personnes.
What this is a spring that works the whole of the descent of the lift, and it's completely broken. And he says he doesn't think that the part exists anymore. Si pas aujourd'hui.
Je sais pas. Ça va dépendre.
Perched on a steep hillside, overlooking the beautiful Dordogne Valley, is the 17th century Chateau Madame. Originally built as a defensive fort, it's now owned by business partners and lifelong friends, Mandy and Steve, whose dream is to run it as a holiday cheat.
I think the nicest thing I like are the little towers. For me, they create the character of Chateau Madame from the outside. It really makes it very distinctive and very pretty, actually. It's just wonderful.
The chateau sits in the heart of the Dordogne, about 100 miles east of Bordeaux. It's one of the most popular regions of France for tourism, and tomorrow, Steve and Mandy are due to receive their first ever guests.
Right now, the pressure is very, very heavy duty.
And they've been promised a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But it's been beset with problems. Rotten concrete, a fallen wall, complicated stonework, and a leak.
There's been so many things that have happened that have held things up. I tried so hard to just think positive, but thinking positive doesn't fix things that are a disaster.
At least the pool's filled, but he now only has a day to finish the patio.
I'm bushing down the corners to make a radius, which makes them look the right age, but it also makes it less apparent when they're not perfectly flat.
The roughened texture also gives the patio an anti-slip surface.
The fear is that you get to the last possible thing and you give it a tink and the whole thing splits right in half, which happens sometimes.
Deep down, Steve relishes the challenge of getting this place looking just right.
It might seem strange, the idea of getting everything absolutely perfect and tuning it like a violin, but the fact is, getting things right is an enormous pleasure, and that's really where I get my enjoyment out of doing things.
It's the final slab of the patio. I hope for Steve's sanity it fits.
There. It works, fits.
Now he just needs to take an inch or two off the edge. I wonder where all that sand and dust is going to end up.
This is full of sand. And okay, that's like a disaster, actually.
All the debris has ended up in the water.
So that sand needs to be reduced, and that has to be sponged out.
Steve needs to get a move on. The margelles need cementing, and now the pool needs cleaning. And the first ever guests to this place arrive tomorrow afternoon.
This has been the most frustrating, without any question, the most frustrating thing. Don't do it. Swimming pools are nice to swim in, but building them is very difficult.
After struggling to make a profit at Chateau de Gelaine, Jonathan and Michael have decided their biggest event of the year, a wedding, is going to be make or break for them. If it works out well, they'll stay. If it goes badly, they'll throw in the towel.
The general look of the chateau, it could never be more important than the next couple of days. Well, a couple of days, hell, the wedding's tomorrow. I haven't got a couple of days.
The 45 wedding guests from America will be staying for a whole week.
If we don't go down well in the States, we are going to be in trouble. This is the first, and it can't be the last. We can't afford for that to happen.
But a broken lift means the bride will have to use the stairs from her third-floor suite if it isn't fixed today.
So we're touch and go now. What a day for it all to happen.
It's August, and the lift engineer needs to find a replacement part. This is a time when most of France is closed for holidays.
Whether the lift works or not rides on this phone call. Hello.
Looking good for the lift?
No.
Oh.
It's a part about that big, a little spring that's just snapped in half through just age, 20 years, and they don't think they've got any more parts like it because it's so old. He's ringing Angers to see if his boss has got one, and if he has, they'll come out from Angers, he'll drive towards Angers, meet in the middle, do the swap and come and do it. But if not,
they can order, though?
Well, don't know.
Must be able to make it or do something with it.
Wow.
Can't just condemn a whole lift because of one small part.
But what are we going to do about all the stuff that's got to go up and down?
Let's do it by hand.
Donc je vais chercher une pièce, donc je fais moitié de route avec mon patron.
Il a trouvé une pièce. Il a trouvé la pièce.
Voilà.
Merci bien. Merci. Fantastic. He says he'll be back here in about half an hour.
While the engineer goes to pick up the spare part, Jonathan wants to see how Chateau volunteer Alan is getting on with an essential repair job.
Ready for the cross?
He was tasked with putting Jesus back on his cross.
Moment of truth. How does that look?
Wow, wow. Fantastic. Now that is finished off properly. Doesn't that look spectacular? That makes all the difference. Having found that, he looks absolutely right on there. He's absolutely the right colour, absolutely the right size. I couldn't be happier. Good. Thank you, Alan.
Pleasure.
Right. Come on then, Lulu. This way.
Michael and his team of volunteers are getting things ready for tomorrow's wedding.
Do you find that when people are having their disco in here, they do tend to break glass?
The wedding planner, Janet, is having to adapt to a last-minute idea from the bride.
The wedding was supposed to be taking place in one place outside. Now they're going to get married in the forest by a little tower, so that's a surprise for everyone, which is a good 10 minutes walk if you're carrying chairs about.
The broken lift is also adding pressure to Janet's plans. 156 bottles of wine are stuck on the top floor of the chateau.
We're hoping that we can get it to work. If not, there will probably be 20 or 30 people lined up down the stairs passing boxes of wine to each other so we can get it out into the fridge this afternoon.
The list of lift jobs is growing, from moving wine to putting piles of excess chairs into storage. 45 minutes later, the lift engineer returns, and Jonathan's earlier optimism takes a plunge.
He says it's not the same piece, but he says he's going to see if it will work. So we're still up in the air with it.
I hope it works out, Jonathan, because if not, you're going to have a lot of annoyed wedding guests on your hands, and that's not going to be good for business. At Chateau de la Motte-Husson, Angel and I are always trying out new things that could potentially help our business. Everywhere I look, she seems to be burning scented candles.
But I'm spending far too much money on candles. If I'm really pushing a boat out, I'll spend 40 quid on a candle. I know it's absolutely daylight robbery, isn't it? I'm giving this a go because it's really, really simple to make. So I've bought this soil wax and I'm going to melt it down.
Angel picked up a kilogram bag of this stuff for just under a tenner.
I'm going to do it like I would heat chocolate.
She melts it on a low heat.
So it doesn't burn it.
And 5 minutes later...
Right, we're nearly there. This is good. Might have to call my husband because I'm using his meat thermometer. Baby, come here. Sorry, I didn't know. Am I allowed to use this? Oh, it's not a meat. Is this the sweet thermometer?
Yeah.
It's
50 on it.
Huh?
Yes, it's perfect. It's 50.
You know what? I just was thinking that.
That's easier to read, isn't it?
Huh? That is easier. We've got so many thermometers in this house.
What do you do? Okay, I don't want to ask questions, so I'm not going to eat any of it, so it's not that.
No, you're not going to eat any of it.
Right. What are you doing in my kitchen anyway?
Is it okay, baby, if I just use your kitchen for a minute to make some candles?
Right. Of course you can.
What flavour do you fancy? Oh, that's nice. Is that
a surprise for you.
It smells like lemongrass.
I shouldn't really be in here because I've got some manly things to do.
I just have to say that although I have got some essential oils, this is Dick's essential oil box.
Yes, that's very true. I'm not going to.
What flavour are you going to make me?
Fancy something floral or fruity?
You see, the other way to go is the manly odour.
Okay.
I'm working in the garden, so that's probably more.
Go on, go and...
Darling, I don't mind. Whatever you want to do is lovely.
Yeah, I have to get cracking on this because it's exactly the right temperature now. So, okay, I love you. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
I leave her in my kitchen.
Bye-bye.
She's in my kitchen. Look what she's doing. Bye, darling.
Have fun in the garden. So I've got a few teacups, and I've got these sort of old French jam jars, and these tins. They sort of seem like a really good candle size.
Angel then pours the wax into the cups and jars and adds essential oil into each. Bottles can be picked up for a couple of quid.
So this one's for Dick. This one is lemongrass. Right, and then I'm gonna put this in now. And then I need something to kind of just like do.
She's using one of my pastry brushes to hold the wick in place. Angel's first candle is ready to set.
That is Dick's lemongrass candle. So here goes my special teacup. I'm gonna have lavender because my favourite. So I've got these wicks. I bought like 100 for not a lot of money. And right, once that's in, I'm gonna just trim it into place. Super. Okay, they're gonna be lovely. They smell amazing. Right, I'm gonna go and pick the kids up. And fingers crossed, they will be set when I'm back. We'll see. I can't wait to set them alight.
Me too. This could save us some cash. Which is what Jonathan and Michael are doing in the chapel of their chateau. 3 months ago, they found this ancient frieze in one of their 21 caves.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
They think it's over 600 years old and comes from the manor house that stood on the site of the chateau in the 1500s. Now volunteer Alan is installing the support struts for it in the chapel. Jonathan would like it to be ready and on show in time for tomorrow's wedding. The after-dinner disco will take place in here.
This is just fantastic to me, absolutely fantastic. I'm really hopeful it will be a talking point for people when they visit the chapel.
But Jonathan can't relax. He needs to know how the engineer is getting on with the broken lift. The engineer's picked up a spare part, but it's the wrong size.
He says it's not the same piece, but he says he's going to see if it will work. So we're still up in the air with it.
The engineer fits the part, then he goes up in the lift and comes back down to test it.
If the lift opens and the lift level is the same as the floor level, then the man has done it.
C'est bon.
Merci bien. He's fixed it. So I know. Well, you're having the same reaction I had. Can you imagine what it would have been like? So I said we'd get him a cold drink. And have you got some ice in there?
Yep.
Yeah, just really nice, fresh. Cold
Yay, the lift fixed! Lift fixed! Yay! Hey, lift fixed! Oh.
With the lift back in action, the chairs can be shifted.
I don't fancy carrying these up and downstairs.
And the wine moved to the refrigerators. But just as everything seems to be under control, on the most stressful weekend of the year, Jonathan and Michael have another problem. Unbelievably, a water pipe supplying the chateau has just burst.
So, first the lift and now the blooming water. Who would want to own a chateau? Oh.
The whole chateau is 45 guests and an excited bride and groom face a wedding day without any running water. Chateau Madame sits in a dramatic location on the edge of a steep hillside with views across a beautiful Dordogne valley. It's co-owned by lifelong friends, British-born Mandy and American Steve.
Mandy and I know each other better than we know ourselves. It's a very, very nice situation to be in.
Due to coming here and living in France and doing the chateau, we've become much closer.
Mandy and Steve are renting this place out for the first time to holidaymakers this season. And they've spent the last 3 months battling to install a new pool.
They're not going to be going around with a magnifying glass seeing the quality of the 17th century fabric we found. They want to come here and they want to relax. And they want to lie by a swimming pool, and that's what I'm thinking of now.
Today's the day their first guests arrive. The pool's being cleaned, and stonemason Didier is here to lay the jigsaw puzzle of stones, called margelles, around the pool's edge.
As hoped, he's great. He's doing a fantastic job. He makes it all look so simple. We're really cracking along here. I couldn't be more satisfied. Oh boy, it looks just like a swimming pool.
That's very beautiful.
Exactement. C'est très beau.
That's très beau.
Oui.
Finally, everything seems to be going along nicely. Until...
I don't know if you can hear that. There's more thunder. So, I feel we're making an effect on a larger scale than it seems.
Poor Steve. If it rains, work will have to stop, as they can't risk getting the fresh cement wet.
That is very threatening. I mean, that's quite a sky. Hopefully we won't have a tornado just to really make it exciting.
With a sky like that approaching, Steve's not taking any chances. So with the help of volunteer Zeke, he's decided to lay plastic sheets down just in case.
We'll let it go in the water a bit because that'll hold it.
And sure enough, within 15 minutes.
We've got plastic ready to go on this edge right over there.
Steve and Didier have little choice but to take cover and ride out the downpour.
Holidays in Périgord.
Oui, exactement.
But with the guests due to arrive in less than 5 hours, they'd better keep everything crossed it'll pass so they can get on with finishing the job. At Chateau de Gelaine, it's the day before the big summer wedding. The guests and the bride and groom, Americans David and Stephanie, will start to arrive any minute. But owner Jonathan faces a crisis. He's been called to the gardens where a water pipe has burst. He's hoping it's not the main supply to the chateau.
I've got to be out of the equation for about an hour. David and Stephanie are due to arrive in half an hour, and I need to go and get cleared up.
Volunteer Alan is trying to assess the damage. If it is the mains water supply, they may have to shut down the pipe, leaving the chateau and all the guests without any water.
I found the pipe that's leaking. It's got a split in it. It looks like it is the mains pipe.
It's one thing after another. So we're here now trying to sort out a leak. Unfortunately, the depth that it's at means that it's the mains pipe. It's not one of our small irrigation pipes. Everybody is going to start to arrive and going to be wanting to shower and things. And it's August. It's late in the day. Can you imagine what that would do on the first night of a wedding party?
This wedding is the first big booking from the American market. It's a crucial part of their business plan. Jonathan and Michael cannot afford any hiccups.
We're going to try and do a temporary repair without turning off.
Volunteer Alan hopes he can maintain a semblance of water supply to the chateau until a proper plumber can be called out.
Just going to try a rubber glove and some cable ties initially, and then we'll put some more stuff on it.
Before Jonathan can call a plumber, he gets pulled away to greet the bride and groom.
That's true. All right.
Oh, fantastic.
That's lovely.
So when does everyone start arriving?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Jonathan is doing his best to keep calm.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you know the place now.
Cheers.
We can leave you to your own devices.
Exactly. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Yay.
Right. We'll get out of your hair, and it's now your home for the week.
Ah, that's
Okay.
fantastic. Thank you.
We'll go and get your bags. You
Okay.
can go up to your room.
All right. Well, thank you. All right.
later.
See you guys. Thank you. Oh, I love the stairwell.
Finally, Jonathan can try the plumber.
Oui, Sébastien, c'est Jonathan à l'appareil. Oui, je sais l'heure, mais j'ai un problème. J'espère que tu n'es pas en vacances.
Meanwhile, Alan's quick fix has slowed the leak down.
We've reduced it enough that I think that we can keep the chateau on until everyone's had their showers.
But it won't last forever.
Merci bien. À tout à l'heure. Au revoir. He's not answering his phone. It's either because he's on holiday or legitimately he's finished work for the day, but normally when he sees my number, he'll pick it up.
I hope for your sake someone can come out quickly, because I wouldn't rely on that rubber glove and cable tie holding much longer. Roughly 90 miles north of Jonathan and Michael's, Angel's candles have had time to set.
I bought this cup, honestly, 20 years ago in a set, and I love it. But it cracked. Just, you know, wear and tear. I didn't want to chuck it away. I was so attached to it. Need to give it a couple of seconds more. I hope Dick notices.
Hiya! That's good, well done. Very nice. What's the scent?
Lemongrass.
It's very good. You're going to mass produce these now?
Yeah.
She thinks I'm joking, but this could save us some valuable pennies for future events we put on here. And when your business is struggling, like Jonathan and Michael's, every little helps. It's 10 a.m. the next day, the morning of the wedding, and they're about to fork out £423 to a couple of plumbers who've had to come out during French holidays to make sure there's water for the chateau's 45 guests. At least they found some.
Plumbers are here. It's looking good because they are 9 minutes early. So that's good by French standards. Woo, Lulu.
But while they fix it, they have to turn the water supply to the chateau off.
Obviously, everybody's going to be wanting to get ready for the wedding, and there's no water. Everybody will be wanting breakfast, there's no water. Lunch, there's no water. So it's critical we get this done, like, now.
It doesn't help that Jonathan gave the plumbers the wrong pipe size.
Well, I've been a bit of a chump. I said it was about 25 millimetres, which is about that, I think, which is what that looks like. But actually, it's nearer 40. Anyway, laughing apart, I've just now cost us probably 20 minutes because they've got to now go into town to the plumbing trade supply and pick up the correct piece of pipe.
Over in the Chateau forest, Michael is checking up on the new, quickly arranged wedding location down by a hunting tower.
Yeah, so it's looking good. I like the candelabras, they're cool.
And it looks like he's learned a lesson on saving money from Angel. Instead of spending hundreds on flowers, he's using ivy from the forest floor.
One of the first things we did when we got to Dick and Angel's chateau was to try and convince Jonathan, or Angel was trying to convince Jonathan that we could use things like the ivy to decorate for weddings. And look, here we are, ivy galore.
Last-minute changes are a wedding planner's nightmare. After carting 50 chairs into the forest, wedding planner Janet now has to check that the horse and carriage that'll carry the bride can actually get to the tower.
I'm not sure whether we might need a cushion, though, in the calash for tonight because it's a bit bumpy, but we'll... And we might have to cut a few branches down.
No.
Oui. Et on arrête ici. On peut arrêter ici. On arrête ici. When I left here yesterday, the plan was that we were having the wedding here, that was OK. But the horse and carriage was going to come up this alley to my right here, which is quite wide, and take a sweep round and go out on the next alleyway that way. The bride's now changed her mind because when the chairs are in place, it doesn't work. So now we're hoping that the horse and carriage can come down this alley here, which was going to be the car park, and go out of the alley that he was supposed to be coming in on. Now, if we do it that way, we've got to find somewhere to park all the cars because we don't want them down there because they'll be in the photographs. So that's my next challenge, is to find a car park in the middle of a forest.
Meanwhile, the chateau is still without water, but at least the plumber is back from the shop. It's not been the best start to the day, but think what the bride must be feeling.
We're getting some dirty looks as we walk around. We've already had the bride out to say, you know, how long is it really going to be? Don't just keep saying 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So they're obviously getting a bit het up, which is not what we wanted.
Michael and Jonathan's future as luxury chateau wedding hosts rests on how well today goes. And so far, some of the guests aren't entirely happy.
Some people have gone off without showering, so they're not going to be best pleased. Hey-ho.
Back at Chateau Madame, it's been raining for more than an hour, stopping Steve and the stonemason Didier from finishing the pool. But with the first guests due to arrive in a few hours, Steve's decided not to waste a single second, so he gets on with seeding the lawn.
The sky says it's time to plant grass.
Obviously, the lawn won't be ready for Chateau Madame's first ever paying guests. They'll just be happy to get a pool. After 2 hours, the sky begins to clear. The Dordogne sun comes out, and Mandy arrives for the final push before the guests arrive.
I see that the house is being cleaned, and, well, it's looking pretty amazing.
As is the pool, which is finally finished.
Wow, look at that. Brilliant.
This is fantastic. Really, c'est merci.
No, no, no.
Oui, absolument.
No.
When the grass grows over the next few months, it'll look even better. The storm cost them precious time, and now the heat is on to get Chateau Madame ready for its guests.
It's 6:30. Now, I think they're supposed to be here between 7 and 8.
You'd better pull your finger out, Steve. Just over 200 miles north at Chateau de Gelaine in the Loire Valley, Michael and Jonathan are coming to the end of a stressful couple of days. Broken lift, a missing Jesus, a last-minute change of location for the wedding have all been sorted. And now, thanks to 2 French plumbers, the burst water mains has been fixed as well.
That's a job well done. It's a relief.
45 guests have now arrived, and the wedding begins in half an hour.
Can I give you these, please, if you wouldn't mind just lighting the candles for me? I'll give you a spare in case one of them don't work.
Okay, all right, off we go.
I'll see you later.
See you up there.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
To make the most of the French late summer sun, it'll be an evening wedding. Jonathan and Michael want to make sure everything from now on goes without a hitch.
How are we doing for time?
Well, it's just coming up to 8.
Really?
The guests will be arriving there about 8, but the bride isn't going to be there till about 8:30. So we just need to light about 30 candles and then scoot out of the way. Angel will be proud. Look at all these ivy tumbling all over the place.
Well, it's the in thing at the moment to make it look all decayed grandeur.
See? Everyone loves a candle or two at a wedding.
That's to keep the mozzies at bay, but I fear that that's not going to be enough for 45 people.
The special moment is almost here. The guests are arriving. Have Michael and Jonathan got everything ready in time? At Chateau Madame, Mandy and Steve's first ever paying guests are due to arrive any minute.
It's nice now. All the cement's covered.
Guys, help.
If it rains, then the roof hasn't got a gutter. So all the water will run straight down into my little garden here.
You guys should get everything that you have and get it out of the house and put it in Mandy's ASAP. Don't worry about how it goes. You just have to get it out of there. We've got minutes.
The pool area looks fantastic. Bravo, he did it.
Outside may be tidy, but inside's another story.
They're supposed to be here starting right now, and I haven't even got my stuff out of the room.
You need help?
Yes, desperately.
As Steve disappears inside to collect his things...
Bonjour!
The guests arrive.
I'm so glad you're here.
So are we.
It's nice and cool in here.
Wow.
Fortunately, they seem as enchanted by this lovely old chateau as Steve and Mandy are. Despite the fact that Steve's still not quite finished.
My clothes are still up on the top floor, so if you'd be a little patient with me.
They are in love with it. Very happy. The little boy is thrilled to pieces. He wants to go with, you know, knights and castles and God knows what else. So for him, it's magic.
But how does Steve feel?
And when you back away from the great clouds of stone dust, it's pretty nice. The pool is finished, the margelles are on, all the problems are taken care of and solved and are in the process of being forgotten. I have to say I'm a little tired, but the bottom line is it's a complete success.
Well done, Steve. Well done, Mandy. After the troubles you went through with that pool, you deserve a rest.
Go anywhere but the front.
Back at Chateau de Jalène, the guests are arriving, and the initial reaction is a good one.
Here, say that word.
God, this is gorgeous.
How is that?
Oh, so pretty. Oh.
See? Isn't this a good venue now?
Looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah, really, really lovely.
After all the traumas and tribulations of this week of getting last-minute things happening, it's all come together. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah. It looks really beautiful. It just makes everything else pale into insignificance. All that hard work, all that drama, all that running around like headless chickens, and it just looks beautiful. Shall we leave them to it?
Yeah. Looks like it's all in order.
Job well done. Come on. Massive relief.
Back at the chateau, the bride is on her way, and she doesn't even have to watch her step.
Stephanie and David, you're now together in the bonds of matrimony, and I pronounce you husband and wife, and may I be the first to congratulate you both.
Oh, thank
As the sun sets at Chateau de Jalène and the wedding party is about to go into full swing, 3 floors up on the Chateau terrace, Michael and Jonathan find a moment to relax. But it's decision time. After all the hard work and the fiery Investors Week, are they going to stay on here?
We won't be going from 3 or 4 weddings in a summer. We'll be going to 18, 19 weddings and bringing that to loads of people rather than just 1 or 2. So this is going to be a successful business that's going to bring joy and happiness to all the people who come and have their wedding, their birthday, their anniversary at Chateau de Jalène.
Fighting words, and there's more than just themselves to consider.
If you think about how much money this is bringing to the economy here, with all these guests staying for a week, they're hiring kayaks, they're hiring cars, they're doing their shopping in the local shops, the local boulangerie. I mean, this is the sort of thing that invigorates a village community. This is not shut off from the world, it's not a stuffy museum, it's a living, vibrant space. And we're so proud that with our partners and with all the investors, that we've been able to bring this chateau to life. And it's great. And the more things like this that we can have here, the more life we can breathe back into the old girl. Onwards and upwards. What do you say?
Forward with a song.
Fantastic news. I don't doubt yours and Chateau de Jalène's future is going to be a rosy one.
I'm hungry. Let's go and have some food. Come on, Lulu. Off you go, Michael.
Next time, we meet a whole new raft of Brits with a whole new set of chateau problems. When 2 new parents face a mammoth task trying to get their chateau ready for a holiday season,
I don't know if we can get everything done in time.
they call in support.
I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't realise I was going to be moving paving slab all day.
Or at least they thought they had.
You don't actually know if he's ever really done a full day's work in his life before.
One chateau couple gambles everything on a new menu for their guests.
It's not going fantastically well.
Things start to get heated.
Yeah, it's really quite hot.
And when I get a call to help one woman search for some buried chateau booty,
Dick, come and find the treasure for me.
we find ourselves a bit tangled up.
You want to go further in?
This way. I'm in the trees.
Hold on.